Hi and welcome. I am your virtual host, Eddie, and I don't get why the US dollar looks the way it does. I mean, what's with the pyramid, the eye, the eagle, all the tiny lines everywhere, and why does it feel like every symbol is hiding a riddle? So let's ask our Professor Money.
You picked a big one today. The design of the US dollar is one of the most analyzed and misunderstood pieces of money on the planet. People stare at it every day and still miss how much is actually going on.
Yeah, because whenever I look at a dollar bill, it feels like I'm staring at a conspiracy poster. The eye, the Latin words, the weird eagle holding random stuff. It's like a scavenger hunt.
That's exactly why this design is so interesting. Almost every symbol on the dollar is tied to a bigger story about power, trust, politics, and the identity of the United States. And a lot of it goes back to the late 1700s.
So basically, the whole bill is a giant history lesson hiding in plain sight, and understanding it makes the whole design finally make sense instead of feeling random.
Exactly. And a psychological tool and a political message, and in some ways, even a warning.
Okay, now I'm interested. Where do we start?
Let's start with the pyramid and the eye. It's probably the most famous symbol on the bill and also the most misread.
I always thought that was just Illuminati stuff.
And that's what millions of people think. But the pyramid was chosen long before any modern conspiracy theories existed. The idea behind it was simple. A pyramid looks solid. It looks permanent. It looks like something that won't collapse.
So you're saying they put a giant stone triangle on the bill to basically scream, our country won't fall apart.
That's the idea. A pyramid represents stability. It stands for something that can last centuries. The founders wanted people to believe the same about the United States.
Okay, but what about the eye floating above it, like some ghost is supervising construction?
That's the Eye of Providence. In simple terms, it stood for the idea of guidance, not in a spooky way, but more like a reminder that the founders believed the creation of the country wasn't just political, but also moral.
So, not Illuminati.
Not Illuminati.
Kind of a disappointment.
Maybe, but the Latin words under the pyramid are just as interesting.
Oh yes, the part that looks like someone smashed their keyboard.
You mean Novus Ordo Seclorum.
Exactly, sounds like a spell from a wizard movie.
It actually means a new order of the ages. And that was the message. The country was meant to be something new, a break from old European monarchies.
So they used Latin because, what, they wanted to sound fancy?
Not exactly. Latin was the language of classical learning, knowledge, and legitimacy. When you put Latin on your money, you basically say, we're serious, we're building something long-term. It's the same reason universities use Latin mottos.
Okay, that makes sense. Still feels fancy though.
It was meant to. Money is not just for buying things, it also broadcasts identity.
Speaking of identity, what's with the eagle? I mean, it looks like it's having a very stressful day. On one side, it's holding arrows. On the other side, an olive branch. Make up your mind.
That's intentional. The eagle is a symbol of power, but the arrows and olive branch represent a balance. The United States is willing to fight, but also wants peace. It's a message to the world.
So the eagle is basically saying, don't test me, but also let's chill.
Exactly. And the number of items the eagle holds is symbolic too.
Oh no, numbers. Don't tell me there's math on the dollar.
Not math, but symbolism. 13 arrows, 13 leaves, 13 berries, because of the original 13 colonies.
They really love the number 13.
They did. It shows up all over the bill. 13 stars, 13 steps on the pyramid, 13 vertical stripes on the shield, 13 horizontal stripes above the eagle.
Wait, they put 13 everywhere like it was some kind of Easter egg hunt.
Because they wanted people to remember where the country started. Money circulates everywhere, so it becomes a way of teaching national identity.
It's like early propaganda that you don't even notice.
Exactly, subtle reinforcement.
What about the weird shield covering the eagle's chest? It looks like armor.
That's the point. The shield symbolizes strength and independence. Notice that the eagle holds the shield, but there's no crown or any external support.
Meaning?
Meaning the country is supposed to stand on its own, without needing a king or outside protection.
I like how even the design is basically saying, we dumped the king and we're not going back.
Right, and then there's the phrase above the eagle, E Pluribus Unum.
I've seen that my whole life and never understood it. It just looks like random vowels.
It means out of many one. The idea was to show unity. Many states, one country.
Okay, so the pyramid is strength, the eye is guidance, the eagle is power, the arrows and branch are war and peace, and the Latin is we're smart, trust us.
Not a bad summary.
But there has to be more weird stuff on this bill because it feels like every centimeter is filled with details.
There is more. For example, the number 1776 at the base of the pyramid.
That one I know. Independence year.
True, but look at how it's written on the bill. It's in Roman numerals.
Of course it is. More fancy stuff.
Again, it reinforces the connection to classical history, knowledge, and legitimacy.
They really didn't want anything modern looking. It's like how some countries today use futuristic holograms, but back then they chose ancient symbols to make everything feel more serious and stable.
The founders were obsessed with ancient civilizations. Greece and Rome were the blueprint for their political thinking, so they used those symbols to project seriousness and authorities.
So what about the super tiny lines everywhere? Sometimes it looks like they printed the entire bill with a toothbrush.
That part isn't symbolic, it's anti-counterfeiting. In the 1700s, copying money was easy, so tiny lines and patterns made it harder to reproduce.
So basically, the bill was saying, good luck copying me.
Exactly. Even today, complexity is a main defense.
What about the big words, the United States of America, across the top? That one feels obvious.
Sure, but remember that in the early days of the country, identity wasn't as unified as it is now. People felt loyalty to their state first. The bill helped reinforce that the national government was real, stable, and in charge.
Money as a political glue. Back then, people trusted their state governments more than the national one. So the symbols on the dollar helped convince them that the country was actually united and worth supporting.
Exactly.
I've also heard people say the dollar has hidden occult symbols, like secret societies.
That's mostly imagined. People see mysterious meaning because the symbols are old and unfamiliar, but every element chosen was debated and documented.
So there's no secret hidden map on the bill?
No map?
No lost treasure instructions?
Sadly, no.
Not even a little riddle?
Nothing like that. But there is one part most people overlook.
Tell me.
The unfinished pyramid.
You mean the missing top?
Yes. The idea was that the country was still being built. It wasn't complete, and that the future was unwritten.
Okay, that's actually deep.
It is. The founders wanted each generation to add to the project.
So the dollar bill is like saying, we're not done yet, keep building.
Exactly.
You know what surprises me? How much of the design is basically storytelling.
Money is one of the best storytelling tools a country has. It's everywhere. It touches every hand. So every symbol reinforces identity.
And also trust?
Yes, money only works if people trust it. The symbols create a sense of history and stability. That makes people comfortable accepting the bill.
Wow, and I thought it was just green paper.
People underestimate design. A good design can hold a country together.
So what's the deal with the green color? Why not blue or purple?
Green ink was cheaper, more stable, and harder to fade. Over time, the color became associated with American money, and once something becomes iconic, you keep it.
Makes sense. So basically, the whole design is a mix of ancient ideas, psychological tricks, and early marketing.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see why people think the bill is mysterious. There's so much hidden meaning.
Yes, but hidden doesn't mean secret. It just means most people never stop to look closely.
Okay, Professor, I think I get the symbols now. But what about today? Does all this stuff still matter, or is it just decoration?
It still matters. The design creates continuity. Even as the world changes, the dollar feels stable. That's part of why it's the global reserve currency.
So even the old pyramid is helping the dollar stay strong today?
In a psychological way, yes.
That's wild.
The design reminds people that the country is old, established, and reliable. That affects how the world treats the currency.
I never thought a piece of paper could have that much power.
That's the entire point. Money is only powerful because we believe in it.
And the design helps us believe.
Exactly.
You know what the weirdest thing is? I'll never look at a dollar bill the same way again.
That means the symbols worked.
Okay, Professor Money, I think we've covered pyramids, eyes, eagles, arrows, Latin spells, fancy numbers, and the fact that the whole thing is basically a confidence trick with good branding.
A very successful one.
If this is what's on a simple $1 bill, I'm scared to ask what's on the big notes.
Let's save that for another day.
Fair enough. If you want more money mysteries, hit subscribe.